of where they're ranked on our board. That way we get kind of the better prospects out of the way. But there's a lot of guys that are projected to be undrafted that the Packers seem to be interested in, which is really, really I don't know, it's fascinating to me, man. It just seems like there's more this year than there's ever been in terms of going out and potentially, using these top 30 visits on late round guys. And obviously we're talking about Easton Butler's tweet here. The Packers will host Wake Forest cornerback Karon Prunty, if I'm saying that right, on a top 30 visit this weekend per source. When you look at the scouting report here, very interesting prospect. He played for Wake Forest this past year, redshirt senior, 6'1.5" is what he was listed at, 192 pounds. Coming out of high school, he was a 3-star prospect, and he played for, it was IC Norcom High School in Portsmouth, Virginia. All right. And he ended up signing with the Virginia Tech Hokies, I believe is who he signed with originally. I think he transferred a couple times, but in high school, Prunty was a standout two-way player at IC Norcom High School in Portsmouth, like we said. 3-star recruit despite dominant high school film. He was overlooked by many Power 5 programs, eventually choosing Kansas. That's who it was. Over several mid-major offers. Athletic background, his high school coach noted his exceptional ball skills, which were developed by playing significant snaps at both receiver and defensive back. Now, when you look at the PFF card here, Jacob, it's a guy that's ascending, right? He's ascending every year, it seems like, man. Looks like he's getting better and better. What do you think about him on the surface? They had him listed at 6'2". We'll see what the RAS card says here in a second.
Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting guy. Like you said, the progression is there. Coverage grade looks good. I mean, the run defense, he's willing to put his head down. The size seems like it's there. I mean, do you have a projection on your big board by chance of where you have him, or is he a little bit too obscure?
Yeah, so we've got him in the 331st spot, right? Now, keep in mind, he wasn't at any of the All-Star games, right? Nothing like that. He did a 8+ RAS. We'll kind of go through that info in a minute. But yeah, we've got him at 331. However, the projections that I've seen is round 6 to priority UDFA. So anywhere from 6th round pick to undrafted is what most people are saying about him. And when you look at the college career, 67, 68, 76, 75, 84. So he seems to be getting better every single year, essentially. At Kansas in 2020, he was a true freshman All-American, starting every game and leading all FBS freshmen with 10 pass breakups. He famously allowed 0 touchdowns and a meager 38.5% completion rate across 500-plus snaps. Goes to North Carolina A&T from 22 to 24 after a brief stint in the portal, briefly committing to South Carolina and sitting out in 2021. He landed with the Aggies. He was a third-team All-CAA selection in 24, recording 111 tackles and 5 interceptions over 3 seasons. He moves on to Wake Forest, reunited with his original Kansas position coach, Chavis Jackson. Prunty became the Demon Deacons CB1. He earned third-team All-ACC honors, allowing just 18.3 yards per game and a 48.1% catch rate. PFF graded him as the number 12 coverage cornerback in the country. And here you see with the RAS, 6'1", 190 pounds. So he's got good composite size grade. The explosion grade is okay with a 33-inch vertical and a 10-foot 3-inch broad jump, scoring a 3 and a 7 there. Like I said, okay. Composite speed grade ended up being great with a 4.45 40, 2.56 20-yard split, 1.54 10-yard split. That grades out as great. And then the composite agility grade was great as well with the 4.20 shuttle and a 3-cone of 6.82. So again, when you look at the pros and cons of the RAS card, he's a fast corner. He's going to be very quick. He seems to be somewhat agile, great agility, to be honest with you. His explosion is a little bit in question, but, how explosive do you need corners to be, right? It's not like you're talking about somebody playing in the pit or someone who's going to explode through a tackle at cornerback. You want him covering, obviously. And 6'1", 190. That's decent size, right? Maybe a little bit lean, want to put a couple more pounds on the frame. But Tim at 6'1", not looking too bad there, right?
Yeah, and you're not worried about that vert if he's 6'1", right? Like you said, the explosiveness is, I'm not that concerned. Same thing with the bench numbers that can change as you develop, right? So he fits that physical mode, and look at the speed grade and agility grade, right? We'll take that all day.
Yeah, man. Anything 4.4s to me, you're fast enough. Now, obviously, if you get in the 4.3s, that's great. You got to be able to run and match with those top receivers in the game. Physical profile and athleticism, kind of hit on it already. But after being a combine snub, he posted that 8.65 was the initial RAS, and it looks like that's where it settled in at the Wake Forest Pro Day. 40-yard dash, we talked about all that. His length, obviously, is going to be huge there as well. His technical skills, press man proficiency. He excels in sticky man coverage. He uses his length to disrupt routes at the line of scrimmage, press man, right? And has the fluid hips to mirror receivers through their breaks. He's got ball skills with 35 career pass breakups. He's elite at playing the ball, not the man. He has a natural feel for the catch point, likely a carry over from his high school receiver days. Experience, he enters the draft with nearly 3,300 defensive snaps, making him one of the most pro-ready defensive backs in the late round pool. Now, he's still got areas for improvement, obviously, top end speed. While a 4.45 is solid, scouts question if he has the recovery gear to chase down NFL deep threats if he loses the initial jam at the line. That's the pros and cons of being a jam corner, obviously. And the other negative is his age. Obviously, turning 24 his rookie season. Some teams may view his developmental ceiling as being lower than younger prospects in the classes. We talked about here, Jacob, 331st on our PTA Big Board. For me, it would need to be a UDFA, I believe. I think there's a lot of other prospects I would like more, but it's obvious that Gute, he's spending a lot of time down here with these UDFAs, man. He wants to get that right, it seems like, with the undrafted free agents.
Yeah, we've gotten pretty used to giving Gute a healthy amount of crap lately in the last few seasons, and I think that's good. And we've, a lot of times some of the criticism has been it doesn't seem like he listens to the fan base because it seems like we're always banging our heads against the wall. One thing that it does seem like he's taken into consideration this year and this offseason specifically is really rotating the bottom of the roster, making sure that when guys, I think we learned that the hard way, that if you have an unbelievable amount of injuries, that by the end of the year, I mean, you're getting guys out of freaking Home Depot trying to fill a roster. And if these guys, not that they ever were lazy or lackadaisical putting together a 53 or a 90-man roster for that matter. I'm not saying that, but just maybe they've kind of understood that we need to really make these guys competitive, whether it be a third stringer, a starter, a sixth stringer, or a guy that's on the practice squad. We have these guys come in and compete. I like him too, like you said. UDFA sounds about right, but he does have some skills and some traits where it feels like that he could have some success if he goes to the right system. The one line that I saw at NFL Draft Buzz about him is really cool. He says Prunty has a straight line speed to recover. His ball skills are tremendous with good hands and the potential to take it to the house anytime Prunty gets his hands on the ball. His tall framed and long arms are to match with his powerful hands, straight line speed, fluidity in his hips, turning and chasing downfield shouldn't be a problem. So it's interesting. I'm excited.
Check this out too. Pro comparison, Levi Wallace or Benjamin St. Juice.
Here's the guy.
Just saying, kind of weird, right? Hell of a coincidence. Out of all the players that AI could have pulled a comp out of, Benjamin St. Juice is one. United Bates makes a great point. Says Prunty scheduled top 30 visits. Packers, Bears, Patriots, Bengals. Also met with the Panthers and Eagles multiple times. Tim, there's a lot of teams got their eye on this guy, man.
Yeah, and it makes sense when you look at the type of corner that he is, right? And we talk about being nickel heavy and zone heavy in our scheme, obviously, but there's nothing wrong with having a corner that can play press man and, jam a guy at the line of scrimmage, man, be a physical guy. And, we talked about the attributes of, being able to turn and cover and, recover if you're in a press situation. I think he'll develop, obviously has a shorter window with him being 24, a little bit older by rookie standards, but I like him. I really do from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about playing match coverage too is you can play that snug. We always call it a snug match, where you can actually play press and still be in quarters match, right? It's not something that you always have to play off on. It helps to play off, so you can have a little more, a little more of a window to react and a little bit more room for error, if you will, if you misread just a touch. But going up there and playing press and then bailing out to quarters match is something that's fairly common as well. Let's talk about the injury history here. In the 21 season, he sat out the entire season after transferring twice, Kansas and then to South Carolina, then to NC-A&T, which allowed him to enter the 2022 season fully healthy. Durability since 2022, he has been an Ironman, starting 35 of 37 possible games and showing no major medical red flags throughout his graduate season at Wake Forest. So that's great news there, right? Jacob, you got anything else you want to add to our boy here before we move on to the next top 30 visit? Anything else on Prunty?
Just the last thing I'd write is that they have a really big laundry list of his strengths. He only had 3 quote unquote weaknesses. And, one of them was tends to play conservatively and give too much cushion when playing off. I feel like that's something that's easily coached. One of them is needs to get stronger, too easily lost in the trash, not sudden athlete and shows body stiffness when attempting to quickly redirect. I feel like that's coachable too, especially if we can maybe put, like you said, 5 to 10 pounds of weight on him. I think that'll kind of help that as well. And he said it is undersized and underpowered when lining up with press coverage. Prunty simply lacks power in his punch. Again, get him a little more physical, maybe throw 5 to 10 pounds on him. I think that those are things that aren't end of the world. And those are the only 3 knocks they had on him. So I think that all in all, he's a pretty, a good prospect that could come in and who knows, could surprise some people. He could be a back of the roster type guy, special teams guy. And who knows, in a pinch, maybe could come in and give you some starting roles.
Yeah, just a little bit of Culver's, Tim. He'll be good to go, man. Let's put
Culver's.
about 8 pounds on him. We're good to go. No doubt.
We've got multiple locations in the Green Bay area. It's no problem.
Yeah. Let me know in the chat, guys. How do y'all feel about Prunty? Also, if you're watching live right now, everybody do me a big favor. Smash that like button all at the same time. We would greatly appreciate it. Let's boost that algorithm and get the channel out there into the YouTube's fear. If you're watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about Prunty? Where would you take him? Do you think he's a UDFA? Would you spend a 6th or a 7th round pick? We want to hear from you. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, click the bell icon for us as well.